Yeah, that's the best part about it.
It's obvious, it's got the exhaust, it's got the single exhaust, but otherwise than that, it's like it's a stock car.
Yep. So let's see what she'll do here. Pull the work shifter. Hey, what's going on guys? Nick from Soho Motorsports, and today we're going to talk about Matt's 2017 Nissan 370z with our Soho Stage 1 single turbo kit, E85, and over 600 wheel. Going from NA to boost is always a fun thing because you get to actually see how much power you pick up under the actual area of the curve. So let's talk about this particular vehicle here. This is Matt Bowen's 2017 Nissan 370z. So he came to us last year and got the vehicle tuned on the EcuTech software when he had the single exit exhaust and the Y pipe. Car put down pretty decent power with the stock air boxes. Put down 326 and 265 when we baselined it initially before we did all of these modifications to the vehicle. So we had an actual baseline as to how much power this vehicle is going to pick up when we add the turbo kit onto this vehicle. This vehicle has the Stage 1 single turbo kit that we offer with the T51R mod. So let's talk about what is actually in the Stage 1 single turbo kit. In the Stage 1 single turbo kit, it does come with the G35 900 turbo along with the TurboSmart blow-off valves and TurboSmart wastegates that we offer in all of our kits. Stainless steel piping both for the cold side and the hot side piping. And as you can see, it sits very nicely in the engine bay, almost looks very stockish like any of our products that we offer. So like I say, our main goal is to offer a product that looks very OEM plus, fits in the engine bay, makes the power, and does what it needs to do. So let's discuss what went into this actual build for Matt. To be able to do the single turbo kit and to actually run E85, which is what Matt wanted to do, there are going to be a few components that you have to add to the mix. So first, let's talk about fueling. What is required to do E85 on a VHR or any Z in particular? You're going to need 1300cc injectors, you're going to need a CJM fuel return system, and you're also going to need to upgrade the fuel pump. So on this vehicle, we upgraded the fuel pump from the OEM pump to the 525 Hellcat pump, which allows us to deliver as much fuel as we can to the 1300cc injectors via the fuel return system, which in turn, the fuel return system, what it does is it increases fuel pressure as you increase in boost. So what it does is actually makes the injector bigger as you're increasing it in PSI to allow the enough volume to be able to run E85, because we all know E85 is 33% more volume than regular pump gas. So hence why you have to upgrade the fueling system with the return system and the larger injectors. Now, to be able to put the power down, now that we have the fueling discussed, let's talk about what kind of clutch is in this vehicle. So Z-Speed Stage 4 Super 6 clutch was in this vehicle, along with the upgraded flywheel and the C-Mac. So a lot of people are very familiar as to what happens on the 370Z or the VHR HR platform. The OEM slave cylinder is inside the transmission. Over time, it gets fatigued or it tends to fail. So what we offer, or what our sister company Z-Speed offers, is the C-Mac. So it basically takes the internal slave cylinder and relocates it to the outside, so you don't have to worry about it ever failing inside of the transmission like the OEM ones do, because they are plastic. Inside the transmission, there's heat. Over time, they will fatigue and they will fail. So get yourself a C-Mac if you don't already have one. It'll save you the headache in the long run. So after we did all the drivetrain components, we did the differential bushing upgrade. This thing did have the OEM differential bushing. Over time, what tends to happen is it tends to fail. All of the fluid leaks out. We upgraded with the white line differential bushing, which is a polyurethane bushing, which allows everything to stay where it needs to be and doesn't allow the diff to move around as much, because on the OEM bushing, which is a fluid filled bushing, over time the fluid will leak out and your differential will walk all over the place, especially when you're under wide open throttle going in a straight line. So make sure you upgrade that whenever you go boost. Let's talk about the last item on this vehicle that was incorporated to allow him to be able to make the power that he wanted to do. So he did have the single exit. Anytime you want to go turbo kit, you want to make sure that you upgrade your exhaust system. You could do it with the OEM exhaust system. I don't recommend it. It will lead to less power than the power that we advertise. Go ahead and upgrade your exhaust system, single exit, single to dual. Our single turbo kit basically mates up to where the stock Y pipe location would end. So if you have a single exit that mates up to your Y pipe, this turbo kit will work. If you have a single to dual that stops where the Y pipe is, this turbo kit will work. If you have a true dual exhaust, not to worry, you can always fabricate a component that will allow it to mate up to where the stock location Y pipe is or where the downpipe to catback adapter ends. So now that we've discussed everything that went into this build, let's talk about the big question that everybody's asking. How much power did this car put down? So like I said, we did go E85. So let's talk about the pump gas numbers first. We did 2 settings on pump gas on the EcuTech software. So on map 1, which is gonna be a little over 9 PSI at 9.55 PSI, it put down 525 wheel and 417 foot-pounds of torque. Great power. We've already increased it by about 200 wheel already just by doing it on pump gas on wastegates, or his setting 1. Now, map 2, we bump it up to 12.88 PSI, and on map 2, on pump gas, it put down 578 wheel and 444 foot-pounds of torque. So these are gonna be great, respectable numbers. It is starting to get warm here in the south, so obviously these numbers could be a lot higher when it is colder outside. However, these are still going to be great numbers for the application and for this vehicle. Now that we got the pump gas figured out, we basically were at about quarter tank of 93 pump gas. We put E90 into the actual tank, put 15 gallons of E90, which basically equated the mixture to about an E55 blend. So what did it put down on E55? So on map 1, like I said, it did 525 on pump gas. When we did the E85 or the E55 blend, it bumped it up to 569 and 446 foot-pounds of torque. Now, map 2, when we did it on the E55, it bumped it up to 624 and 479. At that point, we're at the 300 wheel mark as to how much power he's picked up from when it was NA tuned. So very great gains, awesome numbers. Now we still have that other map, the map 3, which is going to be the kill mode map. So on map 3, which is going to be a little over 15 PSI, it put down 655 and 527 foot-pounds of torque on E55. Now, as I've said in previous videos, we want to try to keep the torque low. 550 foot-pounds of torque is typically that safety margin on the stock VHR engine, so you want to try to keep it below that. If you can keep it below that, longevity will happen on these engines. If you try to go over that, just do keep in mind, torque is what kills these motors. The rods are the weak links in these things, so that's what tends to fail first. So great power. Let's go for a ride with Justin and see what he thinks of this vehicle. This will be a fun one because we're going to be on the stock tires. We do have the traction control enabled in the EcuTech tuning software, so it will keep the vehicle straight. You can also adjust the traction control on the fly through your EcuTech app by using the slider portion. All right, so we are in Matt's 2017 Nissan 370z, who went from NA to balls to the wall boost. And we even have the nice little rooftop here too with the red LEDs. So yeah, this should be an interesting car here because going from 320 some wheel to 655 wheel is going to be nuts on stockish tire size.
Yeah, we hit it with the 2X multiplier.
Exactly. So it's a nice sunny day in North Carolina. It's like 80, 85. So we'll get ready to do a pull here and see what it does. Should be very interesting.
Just listen to it sing.
Oh yeah. This one even has a T51 Armada on it too, so that's you hear it. It sounds like a big jet coming around the corner.
I know, it sounds like that. It's very stock looking.
Yeah, that's the best part about it.
It's obvious, it's got the exhaust, it's got the single exhaust, but otherwise than that, it's like it's a stock car.
Yep. So let's see what she'll do here. Cooler work shifter. 255, 265 wheels screaming, traction control controlling and keeping it under control. Like,
boy, I'm glad that traction control was there. Otherwise, that would have been that was a wild ride. It would have been way more wild if that traction control wasn't there.
Yeah, that's he is definitely going to enjoy this.
So Matt just gave me a fun fact. He said the fastest car he's ever been in and is about a 400 horsepower Subaru. So I'm about to blow his mind, and I am so excited.
This is going to be awesome. We'll get in-car view of this as well too. So it's always good to get the client's response, the reaction to getting his car built from NA to full boost. Right?
And I did tell him this too. So like the number does sound high, but I told him, I was like, look, man, in 3 months, you're going to pick up that phone. Hey, Justin, ready for more power? What's the next step? I got you, fam.
Yep, every single time. It's even got the cooler work shifter. So a lot of you guys want to know. There it is.
You want them half-inch shifts? There it is.
Oh, drivetrain components on this thing. So it's got the Z-Speed, Super 6, C-Mac, And then pretty much the rest of it's pretty stock. We did diff bushing on it too, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah, so you got two different routes you can go on forced induction whenever you go HRV, HR. Your two options pretty much that we offer through Z-Speed of the Stage 3, Stage 4. So the difference, Z-Speed Stage 3 drives a little bit more like stock. Holding capacity is 500 pound-feet of torque. It's really good for supercharged cars. It's good for some turbo cars if you're okay with lower power level. Once you get into E, you really need that Stage 4. Is it that much more difficult to drive? No. You get used to it pretty quick. It's very responsive. But the really good thing about the Stage 4 is it takes a ton of abuse. So whereas the Stage 3 is rated in like the 500 wheel torque range, this one's 700. So I mean, drift guys, drag racing guys, like, you know, guys who are making in the 600 plus range on the VHR, Super Street's a good way to go if you want more OE feel, and then if you're making that bigger power, or you drive the car more aggressively, or you're doing more aggressive things with it, that Super 6 is money every single time.
Yep.
I mean, yes, it's a 6-puck, but with the combination of the C-Mac and the you know, the OE master cylinder and the billet steel flywheel that comes with it, it just drives like butter, y'all. I mean, like I said, will it take a little bit to get used to? Sure, everything does once you change it, but you get used to it quick, muscle memory after that point, and then Sunday drive, man, just nice and easy.
Ready to roll.